Hey, my name is Jack. Welcome to the first of a few tutorials on using Jungle. I'm the creator of Jungle, and I've been developing it for about the past 3 years, and I'm just now getting around to releasing it to the public. It's been a whole lot of work, and I'm doing these tutorials probably a couple days before release. So the goal right now with these videos is to just have something for people to reference and use sort of as a visual aid in, using Jungle. The documentation is available and it's great, but me, tons and tons of people like me, I prefer to watch video tutorials on things. I feel like I learn a lot more when I watch a video than when I read. And I didn't want to, have, especially for beginners. I want the tool to be good for both beginners and experts, and I feel like beginners will have a harder time navigating a bunch of documentation, so I wanted to make these videos. These videos are designed in a way to kind of dumb down the system so that anybody can use it and you can pick it up pretty quickly. I want to make these videos really quick, but I just thought I would disclaim that right now, that these videos are unscripted and they're just, I'm trying to make them as quick as possible just so I can get them out there, and then later down the line, I'm going to make some good polished tutorials. So anyways, this being the first tutorial, I think it's the best one to kind of introduce what Jungle is specifically. Jungle is what I like to call a sequencer. It looks similar to a visual scripting system, but it's not really. It can technically be used for visual scripting, but it's not really good for it. Like, you wouldn't want to program your player controller in Jungle, but it is really useful if you want to program things like scripted events or dialogue systems or your UI flow or, a boss battle or a mission system. Things that, you would rather make visually that you could reuse the code for them, and it just makes it a little bit easier to, just change and build these systems. So Jungle is just a system for visually creating sequences, and specifically a sequence is something that starts somewhere and ends somewhere, and that's what Jungle's for. It's for visualizing those systems. I specifically developed Jungle maybe 3 years ago for a game. I had no idea I was going to release it. It was just a really simple system, and my problem was I was building an incredibly ambitious game that had like missions and multiplayer and boss battles and all of that, and programming that stuff written in C# is a pain in the butt, and I was just struggling to keep going. I'd have to, copy and paste code around. It was a mess. It was super unorganized, and it was hard to make changes, especially, with timed things, things that take a second. When you do that in code, yeah, you can use a coroutine, but I hate coroutines. I don't know why. I don't like them, and it just got to a point where I was like, all right, okay, I need to build a visual system. And I started by building a visual system for dialogue, since, you could talk to NPCs in the game. I was like, okay, great. Well, I can do that, and then I also need a mission system. And then, it clicked. I was like, what if I built a visual system that allows you to build the nodes for, you could have a node that made a player talk, and then, another node that would be an NPC's response, and then you could have a branch node that would have, the responses the player could have, and then that would create different dialogue. Okay, great. So that would just be a bunch of nodes that connect to each other. Okay, mission system. I could have like nodes that wait until the player's in a specific position. Okay, that would be nodes, and oh, the player does this interaction. Great, I can make that a node. So it's like, okay, what if I just made a system that is a sandbox for things like that? So that's what I've spent the last 3 years on, and I've been, I just snowballed into this tool. I just keep on developing it, and I've got it to a point where I'm really happy with it. Don't worry, I have tried my best to make this tool as usable and versatile and bug-free as possible. Do expect there will be a couple of bugs, but I'm working really hard to iron them out. And especially with release, if you find bugs, make sure to join the Discord server or go to the GitHub discussions and report them there. I'll iron them out. I'll make this tool as good as it can be. Just know that I'm really committed to making this thing as awesome as possible. But anyways, so yeah, that was why I made it, and so that's what it's for. It's for building anything that you would like to make visually. So, maybe you want to build, a mission system, so that's really easy to do with this. You would build the nodes for your missions and then connect them together. So the limitations of Jungle are really up to your imagination. But do know that it is a very open system. You can use it for more than just dialogue missions, boss battles, things like that. There's so many things that, like, I don't even know. I like to call this a sandbox tool. So anyways, let's learn how to use the editor. So what you have to do, and I think this is a more intuitive and simple way to do it, let's create Jungle Tree to show you how that works. We're going to right-click in our projects folder and go up here to create, and then I'm going to click Jungle Tree. I do know in Unity 6,000, version 6000 that this is different. Why they changed all of that, I don't know. And you know what? I'm going to figure that out later, but right now in 2022 and 2021, it's right there. So I'm going to click it. There we go. We have a Jungle Tree. now in our projects folder. I'm going to keep its default name, my jungle tree, and I'm just hit enter. There we go. Now it's created. All right, now, how do I open the editor? Pretty easy. Double click. There you go. You have an editor now. So this is what the editor will look like by default. It's going to open in the middle. You see, you can drag the editor around. So if you want to put it on a different monitor, it's gone. You put it on a different monitor. There you go. It's resizable as well, so you can have it as big and small as you want. Everything is resizable, including these little control menus right here. So you see, I can move it in and out. I can move this one up and down. Everything's resizable and dynamic to how you want it. Perfect. So in addition, you can have this arrow right here, and it'll hide the controls. Click it again. You can also hit Shift-C. It'll toggle that state as well. All right, so now these are all the menus for the jungle tree. So for specifically editing and changing things in your tree, it's all right here. So we have right here, this is the graph view. This is where you're going to manipulate, you're going to connect your nodes, you're going to move your nodes, etc. That's all going to be done in the graph view. Editing your nodes, that'll be done right here. This is the inspector view, so you can edit the properties and the variables on your nodes. And then you have the Explorer. This is a giant organized list of every single node within your project. So you can see, I have these animation nodes. These are pre-built nodes, so you can see they're all here in the animation folder, the application. I got a game object. You can see you can have nested folders. So then there's material within game object, etc. There's all that. You can search for nodes. So I can find game object. There it is. You can find all your nodes from this Explorer. And by the way, when you create your nodes with C# scripts, Jungle does all of the hard work and automatically adds them to the Explorer, so everything is just super automatic. That'll probably be taught in another tutorial, but just know that Jungle automates so much of this so that it's really easy and intuitive. So yeah, let's see. Let's learn the camera controls. I'm gonna close this controls menu. I'm gonna hit Shift-C, get rid of it, and I'm gonna just, I'm gonna show you how to use the look controls. So if you want to pan around the view, you hold the middle mouse button down and you can move it around, sort of like this. Pretty cool, right? I'm gonna hit Control-Z so I can move it back to the original position we were in. But there's also, so let's say I move like right here, I can right click here in the graph view and I can select Recenter View. And there we go. Now we're back into the default view. You can also, optionally, so I'll just move again like that, you can hit the O key on your keyboard and it'll also recenter the view, just like that. In addition, there's also, if you would like to show all of the nodes you want to center them and show all of them in the same view, you can hit the A key, it'll center all of them. Since there's only one node right now, which is the start node, it just centers the start node. I'll hit O again to get our default view back. Now, here's something about the Explorer. Admittedly, the Explorer is great, and it lets you see everything, but at the end of the day, to find nodes and put them all together, you have to already know what the nodes are, which is not very intuitive. So like, for example, I who made all these nodes know that, I can get a wait 4 seconds node, and I can click and drag it out into my graph view and connect these together, and then, I want to find a game object, so I want to get the main camera. I can do that after a second. I know where these are, but you won't. So what I've done to make that a little bit less confusing is integrated this system. I'm going to close that, and I'm going to zoom in so we can see a little bit better. I'm going to click and drag from this port out, and look at that. We have this little menu. This shows you all of the directly connectable nodes that can connect to the start node's output port. So you can see we can click, let's just do get main camera. And so there you go, I click it, and there you go, it automatically creates that node and connects the two nodes together. It's pretty cool, huh? So you don't have to build everything like that. I'm going to just click this, and I'm going to hit the delete key. That gets rid of the connection. These nodes are no longer connected. But if I want to connect them, I can click, and I can drag over, and you'll see it'll kind of just show you a little, hey, you're about to connect these, and I can let go once I see that, and there you go, now these nodes are connected again. So we'll delete them again. And again, you just, boom, just like that. It's pretty cool. I also want to show you how you can move the nodes to get around. So you can click, you can drag, and you can move them around. You see, if you move it to the bounds of the screen, it'll move the screen for you, so you can put it conveniently wherever you need. And put it back in its original position. And if you want to select multiple nodes at once, you can use the box selection tool, and you can draw over the ones you want to select. Then you can move them together. You can select on the edge, or you can select the nodes, etc. If you hold the control key, you can append select. So hold control and I can hit that one, and there we go. Now they're both connected. No, they're both selected, and I can also hold control and select the edge. If I want to, I can just, I can hold control and click it again, and it'll deselect it, just like that. Pretty sweet. I can select this node, I can do Control C, and I can do Control V to paste my node. I'll delete it, and I can also do Control D to duplicate. I was about to actually click the button. Select Control D, there you go. Now we have another node instance. You can see as well, when I move these nodes around, I can align them. So I can align them vertically or horizontally or at their edges, etc. It's pretty. You can be really neat with them. You can also just click these buttons directly in here if you would rather just do it that way. So like, I don't want to do all that. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know, select all of them. There we go. Delete. So, oh yeah, I want to show you now selecting everything. So if I hit the A key, you can see it centers both these nodes in my view. There you go. Pretty cool, right? So now let's just keep building out like a little simple sequence so we can see, just using the editor. So I'm going to drag out from camera, and I'm going to connect. We can get the camera's transform, and then we can set its position if we wanted to. So we do. Remember, I dragged out, and we can see now these nodes are connected together, and I can drag out from here, and I can do orbit point. That actually might be a little bit better. So there we go. Now we have these 3 nodes, and now what's going to happen is when the tree starts, watch the output port. So right here, this is the output port of start. It's going to go into the input port of get main camera. This node is going to get the main camera and then output it here. So this is the output port of get main camera, which is going to connect to the input of get camera transform. And then, this node is obviously going to get this camera's transform, and then so boom, transform outputs into orbit point, which accepts type transform. And then we don't need to connect anything to the output of this because we don't want to do anything after that. Quick note, you can only connect inputs to outputs and vice versa. You cannot connect an input to an input or an output to an output. That wouldn't even make any sense, right? So do know that there is that limitation. In addition, some of these inputs need to match. So for example, I cannot connect the start node to the get camera transform. Why is that? Well, this node has a requirement of camera. So since the start node outputs type none, which is no data, nothing is received. This would break that node. So we always have to start with a node that can connect to none and then perform our processes or logic from there. Pretty neat, right? Okay, let me show you how to now edit our nodes. So you can see I'm going to move this down so we don't need to see it. I'm going to select, I don't think any of these have properties to edit, but this I know that the orbit point does. So you can see we can edit the point that it orbits around. And actually here, what we can do is we can just put this down here. I'm going to just scale it like that, hit A, so it's a little bit smaller. There we go. So you can see these little gizmos. And these are the orbit point gizmos. So if I move the position Y up, you can see it goes up. I'm going to move it to like 3. I'm going to set the orbit radius a little bit smaller. And then the look at, so the angle that the camera looks down at, which is like, this is the purple dot. We're going to move that look at offset to like -3. So now the camera will look at this cube. It's great. Now let me close that again, hit A so it centers everything, so it's really neat. There we go. Actually, I'll just put it in here. Hit A, zoom it in really close. Now, I'm going to go to my game view, and I'm going to press play. So now we're entering play mode. And if I press this button right here, and the way I'm getting that menu is I'm selecting this tree in the projects folder. Boom, there it is. And I hit this play button, and watch how now our camera is rotating around our cube. You can see this little progress bar that tells us how close we are to finishing that orbit. We can increase the number of orbits, so like I can do like 999, and I can do it at like a speed of like 2 if I want to speed that up a little bit. And if I hit the play, notice how I never exited play mode, and it just does the update there. And in addition, I can do, changes at, runtime. Can I go negative? Oh, I didn't let that happen. So as you can see, you can do all this, and then there's that, or I can change the look at offset. Oh, geez, look at that. I'll select the main camera so we can, let's slow that down a little bit. And then, you can see the gizmos are really helpful to seeing, what's going on. So, pretty neat, right? So cool. Let's see what else we have to talk about. sticky notes. Sticky notes are a very useful feature in Jungle. They're designed to kind of operate like comments and code in a more creative and fun and customizable way. If you're working on as a team, and you have version control, these are a really good way to, tell people what things do or create groups of nodes, etc. I'll show you that right now. So I'm gonna move these nodes just down a little bit like that, and then I'm gonna do left shift and then the S key. So it's a shortcut for getting a sticky note. And as you can see, I have this little yellow sticky note right here. I can double click it and I can edit its text. Hello, I'm a sticky note. So there we go. Now we have text in our sticky note. I can click and select it to move it around just like a node, and then stop clicking and it'll just drop it. I can resize it by grabbing a corner and moving it around, or an edge like this. So super customizable. In addition, they always appear behind nodes, by the way. That's important, or not really that important, but just know that they always appear behind nodes, so you can use them sort of like a group. They're super customizable, so you can set their color. So example, like green, blue, pink, the main colors, and then there's boring gray. Yeah, you can just select it by going in here and setting the thing. I'll probably add more colors down the line. Just right now, that's just what's available. So yeah, that's what you can do with these. You can also lock and unlock them. So I'm right-clicking on my sticky note, and I'm going to lock. So now I can't select the note and move it around, or edit it, but I can set the theme. You're still able to do that. As you see, it's locked. If I deselect the lock, you can move it. So something I want to make sure people know, if you think that the feature locks it for everybody and you're the only one who can unlock it, that's not true. So if you're using version control, this isn't so that you can prevent people or other developers from, changing your sticky notes. The lock feature's purpose is actually, and I'll show you that right now, for something like this. So let's say we want to create the group. Remember, I manually did this, which is just really annoying. You can actually just select the nodes that you want to surround a sticky note with, and then just with the same shortcut, left shift and then S, it'll just automatically create a sticky note around the selected nodes. And I can rename it to, or I'll just say, orbit the main camera around the cube. There we go. So now we can lock our sticky note, set its theme to like yellow, and again, because I locked it, I can't select it or move it. So, if I want to move like a bunch of these around, I don't accidentally select the sticky note. Because if it's unlocked, you can see you can select it and move it around. So it's to really keep you from doing that. So it's just a little bit of a convenience feature if you don't want to accidentally move them around. Other developers who open up this tree can also just unlock it and then move it around if they wanted to. So do know that's just a locking feature for convenience, so you don't accidentally move it or change it, etc. So yeah, that's the sticky notes. They're super useful for making comments, and you can be really fun with them. And you can just like make like a smiley face. So hold on, let me do like something like this. Where it's like, you can just have fun with them. It's a really cool system. It's just designed to be simple. There's a little smiley face with sticky notes, and if another developer opens, this project with their editor, they'll see the same sticky notes put around. So I'll just give it a little bit of eyeballs. Ooh, that's kind of creepy. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. There we go. So yeah, just like that, you can create cool shapes with sticky notes if you feel like it, if you wanna. But yeah, that's I think gonna do it for this first tutorial. This is Jungle. This is the editor. It's pretty stinking simple. It's really intuitive. It's just I really made sure that everything is pretty drag and drop. So you're just like, you click something, you move it around. It'll usually do that. And yeah, that's the idea. So yeah, if you want to learn more about Jungle, go to junglesequencer.com. There you'll find the link to the Unity Asset Store, where you can buy Jungle, as well as there is a Discord server and a GitHub discussions page where you can both ask questions as well as just showcase what you've made in Jungle. And I will be there to help you, as well as some other people in the community. So just know that everybody's here to help you. But yeah, with that out of the way, thanks for watching, and wish you luck. Hope it goes well.